There's a moment, usually late at night, usually when the world is quiet, when you can almost hear your own life passing by, a soft, invisible sound, a feeling in your chest that something is off. You don't tell anyone about this moment. You barely admit it to yourself, but you feel it. That subtle pull between the life you're living and the life you know you should be living. Maybe you've been feeling it for years. And here's the uncomfortable truth. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you lack motivation. It's because you've fallen into a habit that nearly every great philosopher warned us about. A habit so small, so quiet, so harmless looking, that it destroys people long before they realize what's happening. The habit of living on autopilot. Most people don't fear death. What they're really terrified of is reaching the end of their life and realizing they never truly lived. Marcus Aurelius called it dying before your time. Nietzsche called it the herd instinct, the slow surrender of your individuality. Plato described it as remaining in the cave, mistaking shadows for reality. But the modern version is subtler. It's scrolling. It's distracting yourself whenever things get uncomfortable. It's living in reaction instead of intention. It's telling yourself tomorrow until the days blur together and the years vanish. And it feels normal. Everyone around you does it, so you don't question it, you just drift. Let me tell you a story. There's a famous experiment by psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, the father of flow. He discovered that people spend almost half their waking hours in a state he called psychic entropy. It means your mind is awake but unfocused, unmotivated, unanchored. You're alive, but not present. And that's where most people spend their lives, somewhere between numbness and quiet resignation. But here's the part you won't like. Your brain prefers it this way. Your brain loves comfort. It loves familiar routines. It loves anything that prevents pain, effort, or uncertainty. And it will quietly sabotage every attempt you make to grow, to improve, or to break free. Machiavelli once wrote that the great majority of mankind are satisfied with appearances, as though they were realities. He wasn't being cynical. He was being honest. It is easier to look like you're making progress than to actually make progress. It's easier to think about your goals than to pursue them. Easier to feel inspired than to act inspired. Easier to consume wisdom than to embody it. This is why intelligent people often struggle the most. Your mind is active, curious, thoughtful, but your actions don't match your potential. You live more in ideas than in decisions. It's not stupidity holding you back. It's avoidance. Avoidance of discomfort. Avoidance of responsibility. Avoidance of the truth about your own power. Dietrich Bonhoeffer once said something brutally simple. Being free means living a life that is responsible. Most people want freedom without the weight of responsibility, but you can't have one without the other. Somewhere inside you, you know this. You know that the life you want is on the other side of choices you've been postponing. Hard choices, uncomfortable choices, choices that demand discipline, presence, and intention. But here's the twist, and the real reason you're stuck. You think you need to change your life. What you actually need is to change your identity. You cannot wake up tomorrow and magically become the disciplined, focused, intentional version of yourself if you still think of yourself as the person who gives up, or procrastinates, or gets distracted. Identity drives behavior. You act like the person you believe you are. Nietzsche once said, "We become what we pretend to be." And he was right. If you want to become stronger, act like someone who is strong. If you want self-discipline, behave like a person who keeps promises to themselves. If you want clarity, live like someone who pays attention to their own life. You don't need to fix everything. You don't need a perfect plan. You need one thing, a single intentional action repeated consistently. It could be reading 10 minutes a day, writing one paragraph, walking for 5 minutes, meditating for 2. The size doesn't matter. What matters is who you become by doing it. Plato believed that habits are the architecture of the soul. You shape yourself every day whether you mean to or not. And here's the part most people overlook. Your future self is not built by motivation, but by micro decisions. Every day you choose comfort or growth, distraction or focus, autopilot or awareness. and every choice leaves a mark. Imagine yourself 10 years from now. Will the person you become thank you for how you're living today or resent you for it? This is the question that changes people. Not what do I want, not how do I get motivated, but what kind of person am I building with my choices? Because you are being built, whether you're aware of it or not. You might think you need discipline, but what you actually need is direction, a reason to wake up, a standard to live by, a philosophy to protect you from drifting through life like a passenger instead of a creator. The Stoics believe that discipline isn't punishment, it's self-respect. It's looking at your future self and refusing to abandon them. And maybe that's where you start. Not with a grand plan, not with a perfect routine, but with a promise. I will not abandon who I could become. Because the truth is, you already know what your life could look like if you stop delaying it. You already know the conversations you're avoiding, the habits you're escaping into, the dreams you've quietly buried because they scare you. You already know. You don't lack clarity, you lack courage. But courage is not a lightning strike. It's a decision. And today, right now, you have the chance to make one. The decision to stop living on autopilot. The decision to be awake in your own life. The decision to reclaim your attention, your effort, and your identity. Because your life won't change when you learn more. It changes when you stop betraying yourself. So here's the final question I'll leave you with. A question that, if you answer honestly, can change the trajectory of your entire life. If your future self could speak to you today, what would they beg you to start? And what would they beg you to stop? The rest of your life is built on how you answer.